Hey guys, we're back reading this book called Love Loving, a Prime Video originals. This is chapter 12, June. Where are the keys to the Mustang, William asked when we got back to the tropical entrance. James gave them to me by his friend. Uh, James gave them to me, but if he finds out you're driving, Marvin massaged his clean-shaven nape of his neck as he looked at us absentmindedly. Give me the keys, Will said forcefully, completely changing the tone of his voice. Marvin shrugged nonchalantly, threw away the keys, and went back to chatting with the girls. Well, where are we going? I tried to keep up with him as he headed towards the parking lot, only stopping when we reached the sports car. The metallic black paint dazzled in the night. It was like it was in mint condition. Is it yours? No, it's James, says. He opened the car door. Get in. What do you have to drive his car? I demanded as I complied. As soon as I sat in the passenger seat, I knew the car was new. It smelled like pine trees. The man didn't show a single imperfection, and every detail from the door handles to the steering wheel was immaculate. Will didn't answer my question. He seems too focused on starting the engine. I have to be careful. This thing will go on from 0 to 60 just by tapping on the gas pedal, he murmured, agitated. The front of the car was dark, but I saw his pupil dilated, and I started getting a bad feeling in my gut. I clearly understood the signal he was trying to send me. Something's wrong, and you're about to walk into some serious shit, Junwei. What kind of dad would buy his? What kind of dad would buy this kind of car for his teenage kid? I blurted a bit in, indignantly. Will showed me a perplexed look. Was like a carbon copy of my mom when I acted this way. His dad just got it for him. Where the hell are we going? I asked again when I started picking up on how irritated he was acting. Will bring his fingers to his hair with one hand and firmly grasped the steering wheel with the other, drumming his fingers on it. June, do you have your license? I do, but they took it away. I pretended not to hear the last part because otherwise I would have asked him 20 questions. And something told me William wouldn't like that. Why couldn't they go? Why do you have to go, Will? It's something I had to deal with. I bit my lower lip. I felt uneasy, but William seemed more preoccupied than me. My eyes widened when he suddenly put on the turn signal and pulled over. He slammed the brakes and I jumped in my seat. My heart was pounding and my throat was dry when I suddenly heard him, t- him turn the car off. Well, what's going on? His eyes are glued to the windshield. The dark enveloped us and I started to shake. I was with a guy I barely knew in a car that wasn't his, and he was driving without a license. Not to mention, it was late at night and we were going to rescue an asshole I hated. Look at the dashboard. The clock said 11:30. Fantastic. My mom was going to lock me up at home for life. Maybe I should just take you home. The evenings out changed the plans. Didn't bother me. In fact, I expected it. I thought about it more. It's not safe to bring you with me. William's eyes locked with mine, and I sensed the mix of contrasting fear and excitement that he was feeling. What happened to James? I waited for Williams to answer me. He was reluctant to respond. He got jumped. He answered after a moment. I was horrified, but I tried not to show it. You're joking, right? He knew, and he still went away. Give me your address. I put in the GPS and took you home. When I turned the car on with the rumble, and I vaguely sensed adrenaline rush through my veins. I suddenly felt drunk, like I was on a roller coaster. I knew getting out of there and having him drive me back was the right thing to do. But suddenly I didn't want to go home anymore. And and what if something bad happened to William too? No, I wanna no, I wanna not come with you. I was being impulsive, maybe even reckless. You seem really worried. You seem really worried about him, and I don't want to leave you alone. William smiled. Okay, we go. Otherwise, who's gonna listen to him? I bet. I grumbled. After driving down did after driving down dark dirt roads for a few minutes, we finally reached what looked like an abandoned theme park. What kind of place is this? I asked slightly, the anxiety eating at my stomach. I didn't regret coming with him, but I hadn't then expect it to end up in such a creepy place. In all go in all go kart park, they turned it into a nightclub. I stuck my head out the window. A large sketchy building stood out in the night. A broken neon sign sputtered on the edge of the facade with another metal sign dangling above. As soon as we parked, I saw a figure on the ground. Oh, Jesus. I heard William start to sound stressed. How James get all the way out here? Why didn't he take his car? The situation was really bizarre. I thought they brought I thought they brought him here, he said before getting out the car. Who's they? I shouted it before opening the car door. William moved in front of me and motioned for me to wait in the car. June, I'm gonna go find out what's going on. In purple lush neon light glow from an open door. Music was blasting in the distance as the silhouettes of small groups of people mingled in the dark. William approached the figure on the ground, then looked around for a few moments before motioning for me to join him. I found the car ajar. I found the already ajar car door open and got out of a seat. Sorry. The air smelled like tobacco and a little woody. So something tickled my throat. Sand seemed to hang in sand seemed to hang in the air. I squinted to get a sense of my surroundings and realized that we were in the middle of the desert. James, you knew. William said this like he was reprimanding him. The figure on the ground was so the figure on the ground was covered in blood and dirt. So I should have come here, snapped James, dragging his arms on the ground and in an attempt to get up. Dragging his arms on the ground in an attempt to get up. Did they at least they at least give it back to you? Asked Williams as he helped his friend hold himself up. Does it look like they did? He spat, much chinning at his swollen face. His groans got louder as soon as he saw me. Damn it. Did you have to bring her too? He snapped. Be thankful he came to get you. I shot back. Shut up, he replied before collapsing again. Says a zombie. Make her shut up, Will. Dude, get your ass kicked bad. Dude, you got your ass kicked bad. You're bleeding. I know, but look, Will. You suddenly turned off, realizing that I was still there. So, so they, so they're not going to pay you back after all. Will lowered his voice. Well, so they're not going to pay you back up to. Well, lowered his voice, hoping I wouldn't hear him as James shook his head and slipped on the dusty ground again. Dusty ground again. Damn it, can you at least walk? William didn't seem capable of propping him up, or maybe James was too proud to accept his help. Stay there, I'm gonna get the first aid kit. Do you have it in your car? For the last time. James nodded. Do you have it in your car for the last time? James nodded languidly. It's in the trunk. Then he directed his glare at me. And quit staring at me like that. Your face is so fucked up that I'm trying to figure out which one is your eye and which one is your lip. Let my curiosity get the best of me. Will headed to Will headed toward the car. Who did this to you? Then well, don't leave me alone with her. She keeps staring at me. It's creepy, moaned James. I'm staring at you because you look like one of those paintings my mom makes when she's blindfolded. I retorted, crouching down to examine his wounds. Your mom paints blindfolded? She must be a genius. That must be where you get it from, he muttered, as he inserted the vape pen between his lips and took a deep drag. No, Dom, it's one of the classes she teaches to her students. But what do you care? In fact, I didn't ask you about shit. You're the you're the one broadcasting your life, as if anyone would care about your ranting on on Instagram Live. I held back my insults because they got too far. Help me, he demanded. I looked at him puzzled. He was so beaten up that he was unrecognizable. I grumbled. He decided to oblige. I held him up as he got back on his feet as I grabbed his rock hard biceps. I inhaled the scent of mint and fabric softener. Why do you leave your car at Travelco? Who brought you here? He sneered with his split lip, almost assumed by my morbid curiosity. I took that back. I don't want to know. James grimaced in pain, in as much hatred as I felt for him. A part of me felt bad for him. That bad, huh? What do you think? He asked. I don't think so. Because you got high beforehand. James collapsed with his back against the building wall as he fiddled with a clear piece of rolling paper, watching what I'm doing. Watching what I'm doing. He said, is barely raising his head. But even with that slight moment, our eyes locked for a second. That's enough time to make me flinch. Shook my head in an attempt to shake off the feeling that he aroused in me. I'm saying it because I saw you put that crab in your mouth first. I didn't know what it was called, but it was definitely illegal. It dumps it numbs my mouth and face. It numbs your brain, I quit. He seemed amused by the joke. That too, but most of all, it numbs my mouth. Did you try it? Maybe it'll shut you up for 2 consecutive minutes. He said before slowly and confidently licking the rolling paper. Licking the rolling paper. Williams was desperate about beckoning to a halt. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? My tongue. And yours? Explained James placidly. What? Stunned, William stared at him, and then decided not to take the bait. He set the first aid kit on the ground. That's not you. Forget it, I murmured, pouring some alcohol on the cotton ball. Will handed me. I didn't know what was worse, James' split lip or his bloody eyebrows. What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? James blocked my wrist, bringing it above his head before I could get any closer. Look at your cheekbones. It's really bad, James, William said before turning to me. His wounds needed to be disinfected. There's a risk that they could get infected, isn't there? Do I have nurse written on my face? I snapped. William frowned, stunned by my rude reaction. Obviously, James was the only one amused by this comedy sketch. Do it for William, I whispered to myself as I took a deep breath. Don't you dare come any closer. When I touch me away, James put a finger at me. I was at my wits, and I had enough of his crap. You know what? Do you know what I do? Want to do? Angrily, I waved the cotton ball in front of his pierced nose. I want to shove this and the whole first aid kit up your. I said myself rapidly because William's shocked expression immediately got my attention. Ah, don't make me swear. I bit my tongue, but James sees the opportunity. Give it a try, princess, and then what you, we'll find out what you'll find up your. James mimicked. I threw everything on the ground. Well, listen, he's a man child. I don't know how you put up with him. You even came here to help him. Shut the fuck up for once. Don't tell me to shut the fuck up. When I'm trying to help you, I abruptly turn around and we scold at each other threateningly. June, James, chill out. We have bigger problems here, William said, in a futile attempt to reason with us. You want to help me, Snowblade? You sure about that? The Moran stretched out his arms and looked down at the crotch of his pants. Sicko. I snapped at James sturdily like a bratty kid. For Christ's sake, James, why do you always have to treat her like this? Then he turned to me. And you were June. Where where are you going? Will tried to call me, but I was too angry to listen. I'm leaving. Help him yourself. I started this storming off. Stop her, Will. You're not safe here. James' raspy, lazy voice hit me from behind, sending a chill down my spine. June stopped. William raced after me with the best of intentions, but seeing how he acquit, acquiesced to his friend in every situation made my blood boil. What do you want? What do you do it? What do you always do what he says? It's not that simple. There's stuff you don't know. You too with this bullshit? Is your brain not working, William? Are you forced to depend on him? The poor guy's jaw dropped, clearly showing that I'd gone too far. I could have been impossible, but James Horner brought out the worst in me. Gotta say, Donnie, looks like a goody two shoes, but what a bitch. I warn you, didn't I? Spewed Jones with a tinge of amusement, about to let up his joint. I, I gnashed my teeth while Will took a deep breath. James shut up for a second. Will turned to me. Joan, please, I can't tell you right now. It's not your fault. Well, it's not your fault, Will. I probably should see you if you're friends with someone. It's not your fault, Will. I probably shouldn't see you if you're friends with someone like that. I'm sorry, I admit it. And you're defending her too, Will. She's a fucking pain in the ass. Do you want to ignore that just because she has great tits? Will tried to grab my arm, but I slipped out of his hand. I hurled myself at Hunter. He was barely standing up with his shoulders pushed up against the wall. No amount of fear could dissuade him. In fact, he insisted on provoking me. I said, "You have a great taste, but you're a fucking pain in the ass. You heard that, right?" My vision went blurry. I threw a punch. I threw a punch at his nose so hard that my knuckles cracked like they just shattered into a million pieces. How about you? How about that, Hunter? How about that, Hunter? You you heard that, didn't you? How about that, Hunter? You heard that, didn't you? How about that, Hunter? You heard that, didn't you? 2013. Jim, his rabbit, bitch, and morning. 2013. June. Fuck. His rabbit pitching and moaning didn't faze me in the least. James held his nose in the palm of his hand. I don't know what happened next because I turned around and walked the other way. June, what are you doing? You're crazy. With the same incredulity. You, James, you, you're unbelievable. You just punched me. Are you fucking blind, Will? In fact, you're probably pissed since you're running after a lunatic. They exchanged a few more words, but the only thing I could hear was James' voice out at distance. I don't know where I was going, but I was wanted to get away. I wanted to get as far away from that creature as possible. Let me take you home, June. William jogged behind me as James limped behind him. June, I'm serious. You might not know this, but there are a lot of sketchy people here. Look, guys, and that was enough to slowly cool the rage inside me. That was enough to slowly cool the rage inside me. I loosened my fist at my sides and looking around caught a glimpse of faces that were anything but friendly. Okay, I conceded. I was crestfallen. What a terrible way to end our date. I kept my mouth shut as I hid in the back seat of the Mustang. I'm driving the Colonel Nemo declared, without even bothering to thank his friend. Are you sure? It's my fucking car, isn't it? Your dad's not gonna kill you if you get home in this state. I don't give a bullshit about what my dad says to me. His tone was so cunning that it gave me goosebumps. Wow, you're such a rebellious bad boy. I bit my tongue as Hunter turned the glow were at me from the driver's seat. I looked at his split open lip and eyebrow that was still bleeding. I should have told him he didn't scare anyone. I looked away. Shut your mouth, Wade, or I'll drop you off in the middle of nowhere. Not even when the wild animals will be able to put up with you, he said as he turned on the ignition. Yeah, right. Do you want to find out? He threatened. James is joking, June. Where do you live? William said in an attempt to diffuse the tension. I heard him groan in frustration after I gave them my address. Great, right near me. Your house is on the way, Will. What should I do? Go back and forth? No, drop me off first. We stopped in front of a town house not too far from school. William hesitated before getting out. Wait here for a minute. You owe me, James. James turned on a vape pen before shooting us a series of dirty looks. Get a move on. John, can I please talk to you for a second? I sensed, I sensed some discomfort in Will's voice, but his politeness was a stark contrast to the intense shame of events that had just taken place. I got out of the car and followed him to the front door. His embarrassment was palpable. I know it's been a disaster. I know it's been a disaster, he apologized, tensing his shoulders. The first part wasn't, I answered. Do you have fun too? I saw a faint glimmer in his eyes, yeah. I swear there'll still be a way to. Oh, I still want to see you, June. His fingers brushed my cheeks. My cheek. Are you done saying goodbye? Or are you gonna spend all night whispering sweet nothing in each other's ears? James' sudden, James' sudden voice fractured the moment. I better go before my parents wake up. See you tomorrow, June. Will whispered under his breath, then tilted his head, craning his neck toward me. I remained frozen, paralyzed by my anxiety. Should I have kissed him? Willing to stay for both of us and kiss me on the cheek. Then he walked up the stairs to the porch. Are you going to start moving your ass, or do you want to walk home? I braced myself for a nasty joke, but the chaste kiss that Will and I had shared, but James didn't say anything. It looked like William wasn't the object of his contempt. That was reserved just for me. It wouldn't be a bad idea. I snapped angrily, sitting in the passenger seat. James stared at me, and I felt a chill that was anything but reassuring. What the hell had getting in the car with him alone at night even crossed my mind? I had punched him, and now here I was. Look, Wade, it's been a long night. I have a lot to think about, and you're the last thing on my mind, he said as he turned on the ignition. The feeling is mutual. But you're going to pay for it, he finished. His words distracted me from his reckless driving. What? When you least expect it, it's more fun that way, isn't it? He sneered. Let me make this clear, Hunter. You're unbearable. Do you want to know why you had the guts to say something like that to my face? He asked, putting a vape pen between his front teeth. Maybe because I'm not afraid of you. Wrong, princess. It's because I'm drunk. Oh my god, how? Why are you driving? He couldn't put us in danger like that. If I was sober, you wouldn't be talking this much. Right. If you were sober, who knows what kind of shit you'll be giving me. I snapped, irritated. You punched me, but I'm taking you home. You have the nerve to talk to me like that. I furtively glanced at his perfect profile. James' nose was long and straight. He didn't seem to get punched often. The tip curved slightly upwards, giving him an invariable profile. He blew a raspy. He blew a raspberry. I can see you, his lips whispered around the mouthpiece of the vape pen. I decided to not take the bait and turn to the window. You should go at least wait and turn to the window. You should at least go to the ER. Do you think this is the first time I've gotten in a fight? And no, I'm not talking about how you tapped me. He chuckled. What could he chuckled? Do you think this is the first time I've gotten in a fight? And no, I'm not talking about how you tapped me. He chuckled. Who could talk about violence so casually? And do you think you're talking to a moron who impressed by your bad boy act? No, I'm just thinking that. No, I just thinking I'm taking to a moron. No, I just think I'm talking to a moron. That's all. James slowed down by my house and got out to throw the empty vape cartridge in the trash can. Do you really care about the environment, or do you just want to go to bed with a clear conscience? I asked eyeing him from the open car door. The white teacher carrying his abdomen was stained with blood, was stained with blood, and torn in some places. James smiled when James smiled and licked his lower lip with the with the tip of his tongue. He did that a lot, and it bugged me a lot. Maybe it was because I felt something crawl under my skin every time I looked at his mouth. He got into the car again and pulled a new vape pen out of his tracksuit pocket. I don't like you. You talk too much, he said unperturbed before putting the vape back in his mouth. So do you, and the feeling is mutual. Just like your friends, I am usually a man of few words. James was provoking me. I was sure that neither Ari nor Poppy would ever have the nerve to be with someone like him. And Emilio, I got lost in my thoughts and didn't notice that he was glowering at me. Do you wanna get out, or we gonna keep making googly eyes at each other? Wait. I asked myself how he wasn't in in excruciating pain after getting beaten up like that. Do you usually go to bed like this? I asked. I saw him play with the power button on a vape pen. He turned it on and off, then shot me a threatening look. Get the hell out, princess. I'm saying this for your own good. 14. June. To the 14th. To the 14th. June. June. Intertwining into the house didn't do me any good. 14. June. June. Tiptoeing into the house. Didn't, didn't do me any good. My mom was already home, sitting like a readiness line, or ready to e- maybe create a gazelle. And I was anything but grateful. I dropped the set of keys above into the bookshelf, invariably avoiding tripping over paintbrushes after the impact. What same person had paintbrushes on display for decoration? June, June, were you vaping? June, were you vaping? She turned on the living room lights and aimed a lamp at my face, and went straight to giving me the third degree. No, mom, what are you talking about? But instant the angel act had no effect on her. You're narrowly in your week off. I saw her sniff my sweatshirt suspiciously. Smoke. What the hell is that? All of a sudden, he turned into a fierce bloodhound. Mom, all people around me were vaping. Maybe that's why I smell like that. Right, because there's no law prohibiting vaping in public places, right? Do you think I was born yesterday? Is 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 it, is it my fault if other people vape? Rage contorted her face into even more wrinkles than normal. She threw her reading glasses on the couch and turned me a new one. All right. Well, you're not going anywhere like that again. But I don't have the energy to argue. I just wanted to go to bed. Do do your new friends vape? I'm 17 and I don't vape. If only of my new friends didn't why if only my new friends did, why wouldn't you have an issue with that? It's not like we're the other girls. The problem is that you you came home an hour late. You're talking back to me like that and you smell like a frat house. She yelled, making me laugh. I'm going to bed. I have school tomorrow. I cut her off. June. I brought it upstairs. The next morning, I rolled out of bed at a snail pace. I didn't hear the alarm go off, but unlikely what usually happens, my mom didn't come to wake me up. Was she so pissed at me about last night? That was a clear declaration of war. Mom, why didn't you wake me up? I shut down. Mom, why didn't you wake me up? Let down I shouted down the hall in the middle of a meltdown. In the middle of a meltdown. Well, why didn't you wake me up? I shouted down in the hall in the middle of a meltdown. I hadn't been at this school for even a week, and I was already risking getting marked down. I brushed my teeth with one hand and took my pajamas off with the other. You're 17. You're not a kid anymore. Or am I wrong? If you don't hear the alarm. It's certainly not my fault. I heard her mock me from downstairs. This was her favorite parenting techniques to use. Ways of resentment packaged in packaged in of the form of cliches. The form of cliches. Packaging the form of cliches. You have to write me a note excusing me. I'm so late that I'll miss first period. I whined. As we headed up in the car, I couldn't then function without breakfast. You figured it out. You figured it out. With great power comes great responsibility. Start getting used to it. Start getting used to it, June. You don't even brush your hair. And my mom looked at me from head to toe and stare at my clothes. Where's your uniform? She demanded as she pulled over by the gate. My eyes rolling as I realized that I'd forgotten to put on my uniform. But we were already at school, and a half hour late to boot. My mom and I said quick. My mom and I said goodbye quickly, and I ran toward the entrance. It was weird to see the hall was completely empty and hear my footsteps echo against the walls. But then I know justifying in my being late. I dawdled at my locker. I didn't want to talk. I didn't want. I didn't want to walk into first. I didn't want to walk into class right in the middle of it. I wasn't in the mood to get told off, and I certainly wasn't in the mood to have the whole class stare at me. I stare at me. A dog thoughts. A dog does startled me, bringing me back to reality. James Hunter punched his locker door again, but still wouldn't open. He hit it again. I shivered. At this point, the locker opened and James flung the door back and threw his cell phone inside. I saw him use his palms to message to massage the nape of his neck, which was bruised from last night's events. He either didn't realize I was there or chose to ignore me. I didn't want to admit it, but deep down I felt guilty for punching him. It had been the accumulation of all the frustration and irritation that he'd provoked through the evening. I moved closer. Hunter was wearing a pair of track pants and a white hoodie. James, what the fuck do you want? I bit my tongue immediately, regretting saying anything to him. I moved back, but I was stunned when he turned around. His cheekbones were black and blue, and his jaw was swollen. His straight nose pointed upwards and seemed like the only part of him that was intact in the middle of all the cuts and blotches. What the fuck are you always staring? His words fell on deaf ears. I was too stunned by what I saw. None of his wounds had cleared up, even a bit. Nobody took care of him. Let me get this straight. Your parents didn't say anything. Then it took him 2 steps forward to loom over me. Look, Snow White, listen to me loud and clear. Stay away from me. The tension from his gaze was too much to handle, so I lowered my eyes again. Your hand's bleeding again. It's not doing anything. It's a flesh wound. He said dryly. Those cuts look pretty deep. If you don't take care of them, they'll keep opening up. You better see the nurse, I murmured with a jolt of courage. He lowered his head as if he wanted to recapture my attention. You really care that much, huh? Look up at your nose. I looked up and our eyes met, confusing me. His words were tinged with subtle sarcasm, and his lips were curled into an insolent grin, confirming my suspicions. Come with me, he said, taking a step back. Where? This is an opportunity for you to clean up the mess you made yesterday. Wait, may I, may, may I remind you? May I, may I remind you? This took me by surprise, but I decided not to let him see that. I followed him to the nurse's office without saying a word. Do you really care, or any, do you really care, or are you putting on the front so you can go to bed with a clear conscience? He, bro- he borrowed my exact words, which gave me a straight feeling in the pit of my stomach. He remembered what I said again. The nurse's office was a narrow, little room with a strong smell of disinfectant. James sat on a stretcher with a mattress that seemed it couldn't hold his it couldn't hold his weight. I stood. I had no attention. I had no intention of apologizing. I wanted to make him understand that since I had my reasons for doing what I did, there was no reason to make me pay. We were even. Look, Connor, about last night. Without paying in it, without any warnings, James grabbed the end of his sweatshirt and pulled it off. He was shirtless, and I looked at him skeptically. I don't know what he gained from stripping in front of people, but he did it often. I'm, I'm hot. Don't give me any shit about it. He barked. Carmen, he yelled loudly. A stocky middle-aged woman poked her head out from the nurse's office. Oh, you again. I'm coming, she groaned in a thick accent. Oh, you again. I'm coming, she groaned in a thick accent. Peering beyond the curtain that separated the stretchers, I noticed she was wearing a white coat. During good hands now. I'm gonna not hit the class, I whispered pen as James put a vape pen between his lips. Where's my uniform? Where's my uniform? Wait. The shirt had come off the wash, wrinkled, not to mention the jacket. I would have made my mom iron it, but I knew how she react if she found out a guy uni- we had a guy's uniform in her house. I bring it back tomorrow. How about yours? He let go his long legs and stared at me. At first, I stared back at him, approaching his bare feet. Approaching him, sorry. At first, I stared back at him, approaching his bare chest. James' abs were well defined, protruding from his smooth skin without bulging too much. I lingered at the veins twisting along his lower stomach and disappearing under the edge of his pants. I abruptly looked up, but he made it clear that, that I wasn't that sick. I felt his gaze on me like a waterfall. It caressed my lips, went down to my throat, brushed against my breast, and then my legs. Usually everything was black and white for me, and there were no happy mediums. But at the moment, I barely understood the sensation I was feeling. The nurse walked in and interrupted this strange moment of stillness. Oh, Edward, I see someone decided to let you have it. I looked around, lost. We were alone. Wait, get lost. Carmen will take care of me now. James dismissed. As James, dis- dismissed me as soon as he noticed my facial expression, but he couldn't get rid of me that easily. Normally, he normally he's the one sending people to the nurse's office and giving me a ton of work to do. Say, said Carmen, washing her hands in a sink on the wall. The principal never expelled him. The two exchanged a conspiratorial look. Careful, honey, and don't see anyone else here. He didn't say anything. They seemed to have a friendly rapport. No baby in the nurse's office. Carmen reminded. Carmen reprimanded. Good, nat, good, naturally. Let me get this straight. I can have sex here but not smoke. I gotta go to class. Bye, I sputtered before slipping out. Oh, I love that time. Oh, I love that time when guys fought over me. The woman that slipped, the woman that slipped, causing James to whine in disgust. What do you mean? Do you think I fought for her? I let the door ajar, hesitating before I head out. Before I head out. You get in face. You get in face about anything that breathes. That breathes. You couldn't fight for a girl as pretty as she is. I peeked through the crack in the door and held back a chuckle when I saw Carmen come at, at James's eyelid with a cotton ball with rubbing alcohol. James didn't want to stay still, so The cotton ball landed in the middle of his left eye. What? Why you bring her here? I caught him as he curled his lips and then shrugged indifferently. He's cute, continued Carmen, making me blush. The one I bring here, the one I bring here, you mean, not, not her? She's a meddling bitch, that one, if you say so. But be careful, Edward. Stay behind the door, eavesdropping. Are you still playing Romeo? Felix keeps bugging me with that shit. You can you can just take a you can just take the good without the bad when it comes to the ladies. And watch your mouth. She's called with a maternal tone. What can I do if girls are just a pain in the ass? Then you just haven't found the right one. You only watch telenovelas while eating conchas for breakfast, he countered, making her laugh. Maybe you don't even have to look that far. I couldn't help but wonder what was going through Carmen's head, and how she could be so affectionate toward him. She's a ball and chain. She's a boy in chain, and now she's going out with William. The silence that felt between those four walls was heavier than a boulder. "Oh, how's he doing?" she asked after a pause. I said, "Good, but as usual, that would be bullshit." Were they were were they talking about the same guy I gone out with last night? I'm sure, Edward. I know that deep down you're a good guy. She concluded in a friendly tone. Deep down, huh? So can I smoke? Of course not. Get lost and don't hurt yourself again. As I heard his words, I bolted down the hallway like a lunatic, reaching the classroom door and took a deep breath. The teacher greeted me cordially as I walked in, not acknowledging my lateness. I quietly sat down in the first empty seat I found right next to Amelia. She kept staring at me, stunned. "Where were you? I couldn't wait for you to get here." My alarm didn't go off, I murmured, rummaging through my backpack for my chemistry notes. So she stared at me cheerfully, waiting for an answer. "So what? Your day with so your day with William? How how'd it go?" James walked into the classroom, and I instinctively looked down. He was wearing the hoodie again and swaggered in front of the teacher without even looking at him. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw him sit at the second to last bench next to Sammy. But he didn't even bother to pull out a book or notebook. Instead, he sprawled in the seat with his eyes glued to his phone, as if he was in a school. "Is everything okay with Will?" I whispered, but the teacher caught me in the act. "Miss White, do I have to remind you that you came to class an hour late today?" "I'm sorry. I wasn't slow on the up, I wasn't slow on the uptake, but lying wasn't my forte. I don't care about your excuses, but could you tell me why you even bothered showing up to class if you're so disinterested in your lesson?" "No, well, do you have a pass?" "Not really, but I was." "Where were you, Miss White?" The class, the class said in The class sat in icy silence. The chemistry teacher was famous for his sympathy. In fact, he was known. In fact, he was known for being a big pain in the neck. "It's my fault, James." His voice cut the silence, leaving me speechless. I made her leave. Right then, I interrupted, asked him, trying to come to my rescue. But when I turned out, I saw the smirk on his face, indicating that he wanted to make me pay. Brian whirled around to glower at me as Amelia shot me a less than reassuring look. Then she started to remind Jane, but I could only focus on listening to Amelia. Are you nuts? Her thin lips trembled and her pupils shrank like two pinheads. She seemed furious. It's not it's not what it sounds like. I tried to justify my actions. No, June, you're not taking this situation seriously. Come to my house this afternoon, she said, grabbing her phone, hidden in her pencil case. My phone vibrated. It was a message from the group chat. Amelia, everyone at my house today. Squad meeting. That afternoon, I had to fight a little harder normally. My mom would never object to in the afternoon in the afternoon of studying with classmates, but due to recent events, she was inviting it. Finally, I pulled the I'm new and I need help card, and she gave in. She brought me to Amelia's, and I had a knot in my stomach during the entire ride over. I didn't like lying, and I lost count of the number of lies I told since I moved to Laguna Beach. I'll come get you in 2 hours, she warned me. I'll come get you in 2 hours, she warned me. The whole house wasn't a little town house like ours. It was a freestanding home with a wooden porch and a big backyard. It was surrounded by plants and framed by big trees with foliage resting on them. With foliage resting on the perfectly plastered outside walls. Amelia met me at the door. She wore dark leggings, a black crop top, and push slippers. It was a casual outfit, but looked anything but on but anything but on her. Her thin body was her thin body was always perfect. Everything looked good on her. I didn't notice as much of a difference. I didn't notice I didn't notice as much of a difference when we were in our uniforms. But now, when I'm wearing my oversized t-shirt and a equally baggy jeans, the comparison was brutal. We passed the big living room through the windows. I noticed the runners working outside as two women were sweating over the stove. My brother is going to study at Blazes, Emilia told me, without much enthusiasm. Brian and Emilia didn't seem like they were particularly smiling. In fact, I'd be shocked if I found them photos of them happy and carefree in the hallways. The house seems like it didn't have any family memories in it, which gave me a weird feeling. Poppy and Nari were already there. Poppy hugged me while Ari offered me a cupcake from a tray. Bring, being the fool I was, the size of the cupcakes stood out immediately. They were too small. Didn't you make them? I asked, sitting cross-legged on the carpet. Ari nodded, with a vaguely disappointed look as I glanced around. It was the first time I'd been in Amelia's room, and it seems like it belonged to a high schooler with Peter Pan syndrome. A big stuffed rainbow dash, a big stuffed rainbow dashed toward over the bed, was toward over the bed. The walls were filled with snapshots of special moments, and the bookshelf was studded with Disney stickers and many junk adult books. I felt a little jealous. I felt a little jealous. Her whole life was there. It just took one. It just took one look to get a good idea of Emilia's childhood. I compared myself to her again. I was reduced to bringing just a few pieces from my last year to the next place. And every time we moved, I lost a little part of me. I didn't keep any of the stuffed animals I play with. Play with. as a kid, and I couldn't even remember the small bedroom that I had before my parents divorced. I actually made them for Brian, but he left them in the kitchen without even looking at them, complained Ari. They were so tiny that I could eat the first one in one bite. I wanted another, but the other girls didn't seem interested in eating. Poppy sat on the bed, painting her nails as Amelia roamed around looking for a bobby pin. She ended up pulling her hair in a bun and positioning herself in the middle of the room. Okay, cut the bullshit. I I call you here to talk about a very specific subject. She thundered soundly. James. Who gives a shit about James? Did it go well with William? Already interrupted me. I just I just taken a bit into another cupcake. Well, into another cupcake. Yeah, I replied laconically, laconically after I finished chewing, but she wasn't happy with my short answer, and Amelia stretched her arms out, waiting. They could They clearly wanted details. Or do you kiss? Press R. Was it peck? Was it peck tongue? Did you get a hickey? Inquired Poppy, piggybacking off Arnold. I looked at her confused with Amelia, motioning for her to drop it. I think we were about to kiss, but then James. I didn't need to say anymore. The girls exchanged knowing looks. He had to spend the night hovering over William, didn't he? Asked Amelia. I nodded dejectedly. He, we had to pick him up at his. We had to pick him up at this awful place, but he said he wanted to see me again. William, I mean, the word expression changed, and I could have sworn that I saw a glint of happiness in them. Someone's in the two our June, commented Ari, putting a bit of lip balm on her. Her tone was scripted. A minute ago she seemed enthusiastic, now she seemed almost bored. Meanwhile, I wiped my lips with the back of my head, which was anything but ladylike. But I don't know if Williams actually interested in me, I groaned. They ignored the part. Amelia went back to her initial question. James, tell me about him. Where did he take you? We went somewhere awful. I don't know what it was called. Someone beat him up. Did you see him? How rough up, up he was at school today? She started biting her nails as her expressions became increasingly concerned. He definitely owns someone money, Poppy said. I don't think James would get into a fight over money, knowing how vain he is. There has to be another reason, countered Amelia. What if Poppy began? Judging by Ari's glare, Poppy was about to go down a slippery slope. So do you want to go out with Will again or not? Amelia changed the subject, catching my attention again. Yeah. Why wouldn't I? Didn't want they didn't want to tell me anything. I added it going back to James. But I got the impression that James got involved with some sketchy people. Of course, it's all rumors, right? I asked a bit I asked a bit apprehensively. I want them to spill the tea. Should I really be afraid of someone like that? June, you don't know him, replied Amelia. And trust me, it's better there that way. Because you don't want to be around him when he's mad, Poppy pointed out. You're exaggerating, I said. But didn't take that but they didn't take it lightly. But they didn't take it lightly. He put my brother's he put my brother in the hospital, Amelia said. He almost killed a guy when he was 16. Happy let slip. Happy let slip. The other two were getting upset. Their eyes widened and they stopped blinking. What? You're kidding, right? I asked. Bobby turned away as soon as Bobby turned away as soon as she realized that she Bobby turned away as soon as she realized what she said, but it was too late now. Poppy. The other two girls admonished her in unison. Are you serious? I don't want to hide my disbelief. Yeah, with a with the wrench. Papi mentioned this so casually that I understand that she wasn't lying. Papi enough. This time made a gel and her face contorted into a grimace. That looked exactly this the same as Brian tormented expression. What they say? The blonde flutter eyes lashes the but they say the blonde flutter her eyelashes instantly as I brought my hands to my face. Oh my god. That doesn't matter, Amelia cut me off. What happened with you two? Nothing. Nothing? You were together and now you hate him? Yeah, we were together, Amelia stammered, rushing it aside. I'm gonna get a drink. What, what, did, what do you want, June? That indicated that she wanted to change the subject. But I didn't give up. Well, what happened? I insisted. We went out and it didn't end well. That's it, she concluded robotically, as if she was reciting lines from a play. Come on, Ari, let's get a juice. She made air quotes as she said those words and reached the door. And reached the door. I'll be pissed if you tell my brother. Got it? Got it, Poppy? The pair disappeared and I was alone with Poppy. Just the right person if I wanted to know what was going on. Finding out about James Horner's life was certainly not my priority, but if I wanted to date his best friend, I had to at least ascertain the gravity of this situation. I put my hands between my knees without I put my hand between my knees. What happened between Amelia and James Hunter? Did they really go out? Poppy feigned her hands to dry her polish. One night during Tiffany's birthday, one night during Tiffany's birthday party, Jesus, June. It was a shit show. He replied, unnerved. What happened? I whispered. Keep an eye on the door. You keep an eye on the door. You will then get it if I tell you. It all started years ago. Brian and James were Brian and James went to elementary school together. They were friends. They were friends. She suddenly cut her off. We weren't then alone anymore. Amelia was back with two glasses brimming with something that looked like orange soda. Happy, just a fruit juice for you, she warned. I felt guilty and didn't want them to fight because of me. But on the other hand, I was only On the other hand, I was only asking for some honesty. Look, June, I know it seems ridiculous to you, but last year was a tough year for my family, and yes, I was with him. But Amelia cut her lips, trying to figure out what to say. Then he cheated it on her. He cheated on you, didn't he? Ari interrupted, coming to Amelia's rescue. They both nodded. Happy looked down. They were lying. It made my stomach turn. I felt excluded. Is that all? I asked, not hiding my frustration. No, well, Poppy started, led by Amelia cut her off curtly. Yeah, that's all. And Hank interrupted our conversation. The girl exchanged a look. Who is it? It's James's car, exclaimed Ari, looking out the window. Will's at the door. I can't believe it. He, I can't believe it. He came here for you, June. Ari, his neck cut her eyes lit up. How romantic, she mocked soon. Who told him I'll be here? I look around, be followed, but nobody answered. Come here, Emilia grabbed my arm as the puppy handed her lipstick. Oh no no no! Oh no no! We we know you already look great, but a little makeup won't hurt. I'll put this on you. I didn't know what shade it was until I looked in the mirror. A valiant shade of purple covered my lips, making them look huge. What on earth? Go, go! Don't make him wait. Ari pushed me. For a minute, I felt like a guinea pig in a lab experiment, but I ignored that feeling and went downstairs. William was waiting for me at the door, wearing a dark colored shirt, and a dazzling grin. I looked past his shoulders. James Horner was leaning against his black Mustang car door, turned on his vape pen. Turned on his vape pen. He had his hood up, which created a big shadow that covered his face. I came here to apologize for yesterday, John. Williams stared at me intensely. No need to apologize. Well, really. Yes, I do. Last night was a disaster, and it was all my fault. Uh, I should have objected, but I didn't. Give you another chance. Say yes. At a chance, William looked up, and I looked toward where his gaze was directly at a big window. I wasn't surprised. Emilia, Papi, and Nari were spying. Yes, I accepted. I heard a chorus of tears. His gray eyes turned to me, and I felt my knees tremble. Tomorrow night, party at my house. Wanna come? Of course. You would tell my mom, right? Well, was I being stupid? Probably. I didn't even have the courage to look at him in the eyes. William stared at my lips, and I wanted to pass out and I wanted to pass out. The lipstick was really gusty. Why didn't I wipe it off? What if they were trying to make an idiot of me? They thought they thought was absurd, but it was hard to push it away. June. I also came to tell you something else. I looked at his perfectly styled hair and then at his delicate face. I'm not used to going out with girls. That was absurd. William was so beautiful that I inevitably asked myself what was wrong with the other girls in school since they only had eyes for it. I looked, I looked over William's shoulders. There's, I looked over William's shoulders at James. He kept his head down. I felt the tension as soon as he lifted his blue eyes to stare at me. I felt a chill immediately. I didn't want to feel the tension. Didn't want to feel that sensation, but it crawled across my skin and made me forget about the lipstick. William and the girls giggling. The, there was something irresistible about his gaze. It was like balancing on a table with my eyes closed. June, I want to keep seeing you. I know I have questionable friends, but they've been a part of my life forever. James is like a brother to me. I can't turn my back on him. He's Satan? Yeah, obviously, in his own way. I can imagine. You can turn your back on me to get laid. William did an impression of James, stretching out his arms and puffing out his chest, making me laugh. Obviously, I don't think of you like that, he added quickly. Don't worry, I don't think you. Don't worry, I don't think you think. Well, you know what I mean. I stuttered before getting permanently tongue-tied. I stood there, alternating between grinning at each other and looked down at the ground. William bit his lip. William bit his lip. He was holding back a sigh of relief. Yeah, you have no idea how hard it was to get him to bring him here. You have no idea how hard it was to get him. You have no idea how hard it was to get him here. You have no idea how hard it was to get him to bring me here. I, I bet he had quite a tantrum. I heard James clear his throat a bit. Damn it. Can you guys talk about anything besides me? He asked. I didn't worry about it. What do you think of fate, Will? I asked quietly, hoping nobody would hear me. That's enough. That's a tough question. William massaged the nape of his neck nervously. He was already embarrassed. The question seems to turn him off even more, but I was pleasantly surprised by his answer. Something like, "Oh, my locker and June are, are closed." So something like that. "Oh, my locker and June are closed." Thanks, thanks, Faith. I held back a chuckle. "So you really coming?" He prodded it as my chest. He prodded as my cheeks burned. I made it my impersonation skills won you over. When I pushed a lock of my hair behind my ear, I felt his fingers softly caress my cheek, and we heard honking. "Time's up, Romeo. We gotta go." I closed my eyes. I hit him. "I know. I swear. I'm all yours tomorrow night," joked William before taking my hand and squeezed it. "I know. I swear. I'm all yours tomorrow night," joked William before taking my hand and squeezing it. To the chatter upstairs, the chatter upstairs resumed. "Too many people are around. I gotta go. See you tomorrow night, June." William leaned in and kissed me to the and kissed me on the jaw. I felt a sensation, naïve sweetness and happiness that was immediately gone when I met James. Miss Sharp stare. When I met James Sharp stare. Sharp stare. 15. Mm, 15.